Before we get into open the floor to questions, Coach Tierney, could you please give us your comments following today's win over Towson?
After Towson, CAA game. It's every second matters. Sometimes it's not going to win a beauty contest, but it's just two teams just scrapping it out, and that game certainly could have went either way. We certainly know that. We told the guys that we were one mistake away from not winning, and we always look at the last plays. Bobby Casey played really well at the end. Michael Altman knocks one down on man down, right? I mean, all this game planning stuff, and Michael Altman's got a stick in a lane, and he knocks one down. He clears it. He throws a crossfield pass to Justin Linsky, who ices it at the end. Some of those other plays, Justin Sykes, he's got 3 goals. They were all over Ryan today, and Ryan did a good job. He set a huge pick for Justin to score. Ryan got taken out pretty hard by it, but it was worth the goal. And there was a bunch of other plays that took place. So we'll enjoy this one for a few minutes, and then in the nature of unique years, back to UMass. Questions?
We will now open the floor to questions.
Tyler.
Yeah, Coach, can you talk about Colton Rudd in this game scoring the first 2 goals for your team, how he was able to get open and get your team into the lead?
Yeah, Colton, listen, Colton Rudd's an interesting story. He's still a freshman. He was a freshman last year, but because of the COVID scenario, he's a freshman again this year. And his last game last year was against St. John's, and he played really well, and now we're just, through some other scenarios, he has now stepped up. Alex Kincannon goes down. Colton Rudd was playing midfield. We've got him back at the attack. He's got a nose for the goal. He's got a certain love for the game. And when he gets his hands free, he can shoot it. So I'm going to send Colton a message through this interview. His first 2 goals are wonderful. I would just like to see him in the next 3 quarters, and I'll take that offline with him. But I love that he had the 2. We needed every one of them today. JBD.
Hey, Coach, great win today. Can you talk about your defense with guys like Michael Altman and what they brought to the table? What they do does not always show up in the stat sheet. So can you elaborate on it?
Yeah, listen, that's the turnpike end of the field for us, right? We call it turnpike. It is it's a bunch of guys with maybe some no names that are forced to have better teamwork than the offense, right? One little kink and you're going to get scored on. Sometimes the goalie bails you out, sometimes not. But, we gave up 16 to UMass, and we don't think we played well down that end or certainly down the offensive end. And so for them to bounce back, get the game plan down, for Keegan Santos to be in Avanzado's hands all day long, knowing that he's the quarterback of what's going on, is huge. And then, certainly Brody McLean, who did not play versus Loyola. We knew probably they were going to rest him in a out of conference game, knowing the weight of a conference game. He comes back, he has 2, but Logan Denenza does a really good job on him. He just does. And he got 2. I think 1 was in transition. So I'm really proud of the D, proud of how Bobby reacted. We talked about it at practice this week, where we didn't have a save in the second half last week. We were 0 for 5 in transition. We were 0 for 3 on man up. We had a lot of turnovers, and we were only 50-50 at the faceoff X versus UMass. So I just asked the guys, how do you expect to win a CAA game with those types of stats? And those are the things we have to change. It is, with total respect, it was less about Towson, and it was more about us playing better than what we showed in the UMass game. And then certainly we had to learn about Towson, because we knew they were 0-2 in the conference, and they were going to be playing with a certain desire to not go 0-3.
Coach, at this point last year, there was I was here for the home opener against Wagner a few years ago, and we were talking about you and Ryan just taking it one day at a time on a potential, final season and everything like that. You finally got to senior day, and you're at these moments. Can you speak a little bit about like what moments like this mean to you as a coach, as a parent, and just as a fan of the game of lacrosse in general?
Eddie, I was hoping you weren't going to ask, and here's why. It's emotional. It's emotional. Standing there today and taking a picture with him, it kind of all made sense when a decision that was made probably 7 years ago that he was going to come to Hofstra and we were going to do this together. And then my daughter, she's like, I want a part of this too. And so she comes to Hofstra. And then to stand there today, COVID pisses me off. I would have loved to just have my wife and my daughter and us share a group hug. I get that we couldn't do that. We'll do it. We'll reenact the picture at another time. But Eddie, I take that back. I thank you for asking it, because today, as a father, and forget about being a coach, as a father, I'm awfully proud of that young man. Eddie. Tyler.
Coach, before the game, you talked about senior day, just going off of that, and you said that this isn't the end for this team. There's still plenty of games, especially with your son on the team. After this win, what does it mean moving forward with these seniors? What does it mean to you and those players?
Certainly the win helps. I mean, a win helps on not senior day. A win helps on senior day. The reason that we decided on a very quick senior day was we were just concerned about COVID, right? What if we book it later on in the season and something happens, right? Maybe with our team, maybe with our opponent, and a game gets canceled and we can't get it in. So I didn't want this to feel like the last home game, because it's not. But I know how important that picture is for the families. I thank the families from the bottom of my heart for them trusting their children with us and our university. And I thank those guys for choosing Hofstra, for being unbelievable people, human beings, and just being a positive impact on our community. I can't thank them enough. And I want to enjoy every second that I can with this senior group, not just because 13 is in that senior group, number 13, but all those guys, right? They're part of the fabric of what we're doing here. JBD.
Coach, on the topic of seniors, what is the most interesting feature with this senior group? I'm just wondering.
Yeah. It's a great question. The problem, which is a good problem with this senior group, is this senior group is also my son's friends, right? So there's a special connection because he spent so much time with these guys before Hofstra, during Hofstra, the summers, that this group is that much more special. You got guys like Riley Forte and Bobby Casey and Justin Linsky, who Justin's only been here, it feels like, for 45 minutes or up to an hour as a transfer. But those guys, Justin growing up, he was in my backyard. He was on jet skis and, eating burgers in our backyard because he was Ryan's friend. And we're friends with those families, the Casey family, the Forte family, the Linsky family, Logan Denenza, all these guys played on the same club team. Alex Kincannon, he went, he's, although, Syosset and Massapequa, they used to go get after it. Alex Kincannon's a friend of the family because he's a friend of my son's. So it's that one, that's what makes this special. Michael Altman from day one, he's had a connection with Ryan. It's a brother connection. Sometimes they just go at it in practice and you would think that they hate each other, but it's actually just brotherly love. And, Bryce told me, a huge goal today. I know he chucked a couple away, but when you win by one, No one's to say that Bryce's goal wasn't the game-winning goal. Charlie Rago, we don't talk about Charlie a ton, right? We don't talk about Michael Pico a ton. These guys have given their blood, sweat, and tears to Hofstra without maybe dirt on their game day uniform, and they're just as important as any other guy that plays on Saturdays or on game day. And for that, I'm forever thankful for those guys. And like I said last week, when this thing is over and we play our last game together, hopefully it's Memorial Day Monday. When it's over, I'm looking forward to being friends with this group.
Coach, the team was absolutely in control from the faceoff unit. How important was it to win the majority of draws against Towson today?
Yeah, we talked about, we gave away a lot of possessions versus UMass, a lot. At the drop of a hat, any coach on my staff, and I love every one of them, they know where the bad plays were down their end. So Coach Gorman already is reliving the bad plays defensively, even though he only gave up 7 today, right? And Coach McEntee is looking at the number 8 today going, that's not enough goals, right? So he's going through that. To answer your question, we gave away a lot of possessions versus UMass. We gave away a bunch of possessions today, maybe one less than UMass, and that's what it was good enough to win. And we got to continue to work on having other teams earn wins against us and us not help them, right? I think you see it even in basketball. The team that wins is the team that makes the least mistakes, the team that can play loose, but the team that makes the least mistakes. And so we got to do a better job. I see 22 turnovers on the stat sheet. That's way too many. We got to get that down, by 6, 8 turnovers. Ironically, we're heading up to UMass to play them on Friday. They just took a loss to Drexel. That's a big win for Drexel. And we've got some things to cover. There's a pretty good chance we're going to watch the first Hofstra UMass game right as soon as the Easter Bunny leaves.
So, Coach, on Tuesday, you noted the amount of ground balls UMass had against your team. Throughout the week, how much of an emphasis did you put on ground balls heading into this game against Towson?
Yeah, we talked about it a bunch. We actually talked about it at halftime because Towson was out ground balling us at halftime, and we were out facing them off, right, by 4 at halftime. So every time there's a face-off, there really is a ground ball. Sometimes it just, you could flick it up to yourself and they don't give you maybe a ground ball, right? It just flips up into the air. But most of the time, if you're winning ground balls and you're losing if you're winning faceoffs and you're losing the ground balls, that means you're being out hustled in other areas. So then we flipped the script in the second half. We made an emphasis of it, and we went 12-5 in the second half today of ground balls to flip the script a little bit. And I think it was the difference in the game. I do. We're talking, this thing is down to 1 passing lane from Michael Altman, 1 pick by Ryan Tierney, 1 ground ball that was huge by Brian Herber.
If there are no more questions at this time, that concludes today's post-game press conference. Gentlemen, Coach Tierney, thank you for attending.
Guys, thanks for your time. Happy Easter to all of you.